And the podcasts return. I'm Scott Hamilton, ROCKFILE, and this is my review of Dark, the TV series on Netflix. There will be a few spoilers because I find it almost impossible to talk about this series without mentioning some spoilers. I won't get into details, and I'm going to keep it short. This is my favorite television series of all time. I love Star Trek. I love Space 1999. I love Westworld. I love Firefly. I love a lot of great shows. But I don't think any show has been smart enough to keep me on my game for the entire run of the show. Each season, I skipped the first season when it came out in 2017. If you haven't watched Dark yet, it's kind of a science fiction drama. It's Netflix's first German language television series. And because of that, I skipped the first season because, well, I do still watch some streaming television series, but I haven't watched TV in quite some time. And a lot of TV shows just don't match up to my movie experiences. I don't like long, drawn-out series unless you can give me continuous evolution of characters, storyline, plot, you name it, and make it as good as films are. And there are some series these days. Westworld sticks out as a show that is as smart and as well made as any movie you will see. It's right up there. You know, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's incredibly well made and well thought out, and it deep layers and all this kind of stuff. So I skipped the first season of Dark because it was foreign language and I wasn't in the mood for dubbing or subtitled at the time. And I figured if it was good, it would last. There'll be a second season and I'll catch up then. And this was at a time back 3 years ago when Netflix was starting to throw some of these foreign series into their mix. And some of them are actually quite good. I like the fact that some of these series come from a different perspective than what we're used to getting here in the United States. So finally, when the second season debuted in June of 2019, I finally decided that I had read so many of my nerd friends, my geek brothers and sisters, saying that this was one of the best shows they had ever seen. I sat down and began watching it. And like most people, the first episode hooked me, but confused me because I didn't know exactly what was going on. And as each episode progressed, I was into it from the acting, the cinematography, the moodiness of it, the music, but still had this a bit of confusion where I'm not putting all the pieces together. And not to toot my own horn, but I'm fairly intelligent, and I don't come across a TV series ever that within the first episode I can't say, well, I can see where this is going, or at least the first couple episodes or whatever. So Dark continued on its first season to keep me on my tiptoes, paying attention. This is not a show you can have on in the background, not just because it's subtitled. There is dialogue, but there's not a ton of it. There's a lot of visuals and a lot of music and a lot of filmmaking going on. But yeah, you need to follow along with what's being said because things will come up later that you needed to have paid attention to. And we're not used to that. We're used to having television on in the background, something we eat our TV dinners in front of or have it on when we're on the phone or, you know. So if you're going to watch Dark, I can only recommend watch it and pay attention like you would a movie, like you would a book. Pay attention because it will pay off in spades. So I devoured the first season. And by the end of the first season, I felt like I had a grasp on what's going on. And at the very end of the first season, they flipped things upside down. And I was just, okay, now I have to just go ahead and binge the second season. I have to watch. And so the second season starts off, and I'm a bit confused. I'm like, okay, I've watched the first season. I know what's going on. But they've added another layer to it. And it continues. The drama, the acting, it's a great TV show on all of those levels, but there is this intelligent design behind it all that is just like, wow, I know I'm not getting all of this. So by the end of the second season, I am enthralled. I rushed right through it. I loved it. And they flip it upside down. Again, they add another layer on top of it. And I went, wow. You know, pardon my French, but what the where are they going to go the next season? So that's where I was. And on June 27th, they debuted, and all my friends were like, oh, next season of Dark. I'm like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to slowly make my way through these last 8 episodes because the producers have said, this is it. This is the final season. This will wrap up the story. This is what we had planned. And they did. I got to say, I was a little worried because I had read some people, well, the third season's a little slow. You know what? All the seasons are a little slow. That's kind of the point. It's going slow enough that you can pay attention, and you really need to pay attention. Those looking for action, there's plenty of the old guard and Chris Hemsworth movies on Netflix if you want to watch die-hard action. But if you want to see something highly intelligent that makes you go, whoa, and that each season blows your mind, and at the very end, not only blows your mind, but completely satisfies you with an ending. It's the best ending since 6 Feet Under. I mean, this was thought out from the get-go. I have no doubt that I really loved Lost when it started, but I feel they lost their way. I feel that some shows, when they get successful, they have to, well, we knew where it was going to end, but we have to extend things. So we'll save that ending, and we'll make up some stuff here in the middle. And it basically becomes a waste of time in a lot of shows. This show, 26 episodes, 3 seasons, that's it. It's received incredible critical acclaim. Praise for its tone, its visuals, its acting, the ambition and complexity of its narrative. I just read that off Wikipedia. And yes, Dark is unlike any other show I have ever seen. I cannot wait to watch the whole thing again, knowing what I know. Like I said, no major spoilers. You start off with these 4 estranged families, and because of things that happen, it starts with a child's disappearance. But this is a chain of events that echoes through these families, through these towns, and through time. And so the actual description of the show, as it is on Wikipedia, Dark is a German science fiction web television series set in a fictional German town of Weiden. Dark concerns the aftermath of a child's disappearance, which explores the secrets of and hidden connections among 4 estranged families as they slowly unravel a sinister time travel conspiracy which spans several generations. Throughout the series, Dark explores the existential implications of time and its effects upon human nature. By the end, the show wraps everything up. I'm going to rewatch it. Maybe there was 1 or 2 things that were kind of left dangling, but I don't think so. I really think they knew what they were doing and where they were going and how they were going to end, and they did. I took almost a month to watch 8 episodes because I wanted to stretch this out. I wanted to watch each episode of the 3rd season and really, really, really dig into it on my own. Think about it, ponder on it, And by the 6th and 7th episodes, it's incredibly hard to stop. It's well-made television on that level. It's well-made from a cinematography aspect, like all the technical stuff is done immaculately. The co-creator and director, Baron Bo Odar, German guy, he's directed a couple German movies and the U.S. movie Sleepless with Jamie Foxx, which came out about 3 years ago. Didn't do that great, but it's not a bad flick. But I can't wait to see what he does next because he and his producing partner, this is the best TV show I've ever watched. It's like Donnie Darko in a TV series, something that you can lay down on paper and you could write all this out and it would be massive. They must have had this giant chart in a room to put all this together for years. I mean, I don't want to get into spoilers. This is logical time travel, logical dimensions, logical outcomes. It does bend a little bit of science, but time travel bends a little science. So that's a story MacGuffin to tell some good drama and some interesting stories and get really into the psyche of these characters and what they would deal with if this happened in different times or whatever. Wow, it's really hard to talk about this show and not get into spoilers. Watch Dark. It's listed as a science fiction thriller mystery tragedy. I would agree with all that. It is German language. I watched it subtitled. I may watch it dubbed one time just to see how the dubbing is. But I really love the show. And I cannot wait, now that I've finished it, to go back and rewatch the whole thing again. Dark is streaming on Netflix. It is 26 episodes. It is 3 seasons. If you want something smart, it gets my highest recommendation. Best show I have ever seen. Congratulations to all involved. Can't wait to see what you do next. I'm Scott Hamilton. I'm ROCKFILE. My website is therockfile.com. I have a Patreon page if you'd like to support the podcast and the upcoming projects. Moving to YouTube. Matter of fact, this podcast was the first in my new setup. Sounds pretty good. moving forward. Get ready. Thanks for listening.